topic of interracial dating is always one that is very controversial, especially in the pro-black spaces, which this one is. I'm an extreme pro-black, so you already know where my stances are with things like this. And that's not for anybody else's life, it's for my own life. The kind of community that I come in, how I was raised in the pro-black sectors, you stuck with your own group. That didn't mean that you disliked anybody else. But we do understand that black people, just like anybody else, are looking for whatever they feel is the best opportunity, be it African, being Asian, or being Hispanic, or whatever the case may yield. And you see a lot of these things happening with black men. And I'm talking about not just African-American men, I'm talking about black men as a whole. A lot of black men as a whole are interested in dating foreign women who are not from their country. And Esther Nadakunda, who came on to the podcast not so long ago, described the relationships between blacks and Filipinos. Now, that is a controversial relationship because every time we talk about it, it gets a lot of views. But in this case, we're not talking about racism or discrimination. We're talking about relationships, love, sex, kids, marriage. And I was very interested in understanding something. If Filipinos, or if some of them, had some racist experiences towards some of the blacks, how at the same time did she believe that this was happening? I'm gonna let her explain what she says is going on. Mention, this racism towards Africans, because I believe there was a part of the conversation in the last video where Filipino women don't have a problem
with being with black men.
Being black men, but they have an issue hating on black women. So are we saying that this Filipino racism is exclusive towards African women or black women, but not black men?
I must say, I have a question for your kabayans. Hi, boss. I don't understand. How can y'all be... Because I know for sure, and y'all cannot deny it. Mm-hmm. My Filipino, my kabayans in the Gulf, y'all know you like yourselves some dark chocolate, huh? But I don't understand why you guys treat us badly, the girls.
But at the same time, I asked her, are Filipino men dating black women? She said this. But is it acceptable for their Filipino women to deal with African men? Is it out in the open?
Hi.
It is?
Yes.
I need to move to Dubai.
African guys like it too. They brag around when they're having their kabayan girl.
Do Filipino men like African women?
Oh, hell to the no.
They don't.
We have beef. I don't know.
Filipino men don't like African women.
The Filipino women, they don't like the African girls, but they like
the African men.
The African boys. The kabayan guys, they do not like us either. Both the girls and the both
they just hit him.
We have beef.
That doesn't make sense.
Yeah, like they busted my bubble of wanting to marry a kabayan man.
Oh, you wanted a Filipino man?
Yeah.
You don't want one no more? Come on, let's go back to Dubai. We'll find you one. Now, guys, I never knew how common this was. And we've talked about this more than 2 times on this channel. It seems like Filipino women are dating black men, but Filipino men are not interested in black women. That could be for a myriad of reasons. But one of the reasons, as it struck me, was not that African women were not interested in them. Esther Nadakunda clearly was interested in dating Filipino men at a point in time. But it seems like they were not interested in dating her. Now, I want to talk about this with interracial dating in the diaspora. I've been getting a lot of emails. I get people who complain about some of the discrimination that they receive once they go over there. And if you're a black man and you date somebody outside of your community, and I'm not talking about intercultural dating, like me as an African-American marrying a Ugandan or a South African or a Kenyan or a Jamaican. That's intercultural. It's a little bit easier to accept depending on who the person is. But now, if I were to date a Filipino lady, that is completely different, right? And there's going to be a level of expectations towards me that I would have to live up to that maybe she would not expect from somebody else, especially because I'm black. Now, it could not be the case, but it very well could be the case. We have African brothers out there who are dealing with ladies who are not black, but Filipino. And that's all great. And I've heard these experiences work. However, at the same time, have you ever experienced some level of racism in these relationships. We're not saying that, you can't be racist towards a Filipino or vice versa, but have you? If that's the case, then what I want to say is this. I don't want you emailing me complaining about whatever's happening to you. All right? That's what I'm talking about. And I have been seeing that. I have been seeing like, oh my God, I'm dealing with somebody who's not in the community. That person is white and all of this. And now that woman is being disrespectful towards me and towards my group. And I'm going to pretty much tell why I believe that is. I believe that we have a lot of brothers on the continent, and I used to see this in Poland. They will get with another group of women, okay? And this also happens in the African-American community sometimes too. They will talk about how all women just want them for money. They will talk down on the women in their community just to get a woman from over there, right? And then it's not like you're dealing with the lady because she's a nice lady and you want to love her. That could be the case, but I've heard this personally. Guys go out there and they tell somebody from Poland or somebody from the Philippines, how these women don't want to do this or don't want to do that. That way you need to leave them. Then with that information that is used against you during the argument, then the girls are saying, well, listen, your own women don't even want you. You can't even get them. You should be lucky you're being with me. And when it happens, all of a sudden the brother feels out of place or out of whack. And I just want to say this also about black men, whenever they're dealing with ladies from other groups. You have to be on your A game. I'm going to just use this as a point, right? Of course, I have friends in interracial relationships and it works out great. Hey, some brothers is very happy with it. We've seen blacks and Filipinos, especially in the States, being married for long periods of time and it works out. But I also want to talk about what happened to Puff Daddy and Cassie. P. Diddy and Cassie is something that's very big in the news right now, right? And he settled out of court. He did some egregious things, allegedly, possibly he didn't want to come out. Cassie is mostly Filipino, right? And what you got to understand is when you're dealing with anybody, any woman, you're supposed to treat her with respect, right? But also, you need to be on your best behavior all the time. Like all the time. With any group, you need to be on your best behavior, but you're going to be scrutinized heavily if you're doing something you shouldn't be doing with somebody else, or somebody else can allege that against you. All right. And what a lot of brothers don't understand is when you go to somebody else and you go to someone else's community, you have a lot of eyeballs on you, and any mess up, any mistake could be the end. But now, rewind. Let's talk about certain things too. Why also I feel like some African men are even considering Filipino women. I believe, from what I've been told from brothers in Africa, from brothers who live in the diaspora, that a lot of the sisters are too entitled coming from Africa. All right, we're going to just talk about this. Their demands are too much. They don't want to give a lot of these brothers the respect that they should be getting. And now they're just asking for things, asking for money, and they don't want to return the value. So what black men have been telling me is like, listen, because of what I've been facing, it's not that I don't want to deal with an African sister or a black woman, but the reality is this lady is, being a little bit more patient with me. This lady is giving me more in the relationship. This lady is making me feel more valued. This lady is exhibiting more feminine energy towards me. And that could definitely be the reason, right? It could definitely be the reason. So I would tell, like I said, all the brothers out there that are dealing, especially in the diaspora, in interracial relationships, always watch what you got going on. Always. You're dealing with somebody else that's not in your community that you don't really understand. And when you're in a place, anybody can say anything that happened that you did, and that's it. Literally, in a place like Dubai, that's it. But at the same time, if these black men are dealing with these Filipino ladies and they are not choosing the African ladies, there is an indication that there is a level of respect that some of the sisters there are not giving towards these brothers, which is the reason why they are looking at this particular opportunity to take. And again, this is not a relationship channel. I really don't get into it over here, but it is something that I've also seen at the same time. I have seen a lot of ladies on the continent or in the diaspora. There was the same problem going on with Poland when I was there. A lot of the brothers just gave up on dating the chicks from Nigeria or chicks from Zimbabwe or wherever and went towards the white chick. And it wasn't just to get a green card or to get, a residence card. It was because they felt that they actually were in a relationship where they had some level of respect, where, they were being treated fairly by the young lady and not just looked at for, their money going out the window. But again, as it appears, Asian women or Filipino women interested in African men, according to Astronaut Acunda, Filipino men are not interested in black women. And I want to close with that. Why are Filipino men, according to her, not interested in black women? I would say, firstly, the family is probably going to indicate, and I could be wrong, it could be a Filipino man with a black wife somewhere out there, right? But usually, as a man, to bring home another woman that's not from your community, and we all know what the colorism thing could be in the Philippines, it might be looked at as something very unfavorable. That's my wild guess at it. If it's not, then maybe somebody could come in the comment section and let me know. But guys, it's your boy O'Shea Duke Jackson, back at it again with another episode of Fair Use here on the Kingana channel. I really appreciate you for all that you do. Subscribe, hit the bell. We're out.